Just play the damn thing.
So, what was it? I guess, it went up here earlier this week, actually just a couple of days ago as of this recording, but I posted a video about, the changes that I'm seeing in YouTube and, ebbs and flows of, gear demos, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the response that I got from you guys was overwhelming. A lot of people watched that video and a lot of people commented on it. And, so I'm very, very grateful for that. Thank you. So this viewer comments video is going to be strictly in response to some comments on that video, partially because that's what several of you said is one of the things you would like to see more of. So here we go. If people spend half as much time practicing or writing songs as they did watching gear demos, anyone ever wonder how many gear demos Eddie Van Halen watched? Probably thousands a day. I bet David Gilmour would have never been anything if it wasn't for gear demos. Thing is, people are just addicted to content and consumerism. That new piece of gear that will change everything, or that different chip or capacitor and that tired tube screamer circuit will give me that edge I need. I get your point, but at the same time, you're comparing players and a gear market from 50 years ago. And the things that were going on, that the Eddie Van Halens and the David Gilmours were doing back in the 70s, and how they were shopping for gear and searching for tones and doing all of the things that they were doing back then. None of it's even close to how any of that works today. So I mean, literally half a century apart between those two eras. I mean, a lot has changed. I don't think that's a very accurate comparison at all. I think gear demos will always remain a thing. I noticed that some gear demos have also transferred over to shorts. Yeah, and I've seen some of that as well. I think with gear demos, and by the way, the response that I got from, overwhelmingly, was that nobody wants me to quit doing gear demos. People like different demos that I've done for different reasons. I'm sure we'll get into some of the other details, some more of these comments. Viewers' patience has worn pretty short, which is, I think that's one reason why TikTok has become so popular and why YouTube and Facebook and all the other social media platforms out there are now trying to emulate it. And as you mentioned, the YouTube Shorts videos, a lot of people are moving their demos over to that portion of their channels. And I'm considering doing some of the same, thing myself. So, we'll see. Right now, TikTok, I think, does have an edge up on YouTube because their videos they allow their videos to be more than 60 seconds. YouTube, you got 1 minute to cram, you got 1 minute, you got to cram content into 1 minute worth of video in order for it to be posted to the short section. And for a pedal demo, sometimes that's a lot harder than it seems. I followed you as long as you've had your channel. Honestly, I love gear demos. I know there are a lot of people doing hour-long live streams, but that bores me. High-gain preamps, affordable amp heads, pedals, guitars, etc. are what piqued my interest, and your dry humor at the beginning of the video too. Well, thank you very much for your support over the years that I've been doing this. I'll address the last thing that you said first. If you watch my videos when I post them, I've actually gotten away from the stupid unanswerable question joke portion at the beginning because number one, I got burned out on them myself, and frankly I ran out of them. But number two, more importantly, overall, the best practice on YouTube is to just when you start the video, get to the fucking point. And that's why my intros now are the intro that you saw at the beginning of this video is about 1.5 seconds. Give or take. That's about what that thing runs now. Versus 1.5 seconds versus the old way I was doing it with the joke and the deadpan look into the camera, and the camera zooming in and out, and doing all other things that were entertaining to a lot of people. And I did have fun doing it. But all of that plus the actual intro tacked onto the end of it. The intro to my videos were stretching out 30-40 seconds at times. And 30 seconds easily, close, and oftentimes longer. A lot of viewers nowadays just don't have the patience to want to sit through that anymore. So that's the main reason why I kind of got away from it. So now we're going to start trying to figure out how to work humor in some other ways. Live streams, live streams are cool, but You know, I mean, really, it's, you know, one, it's hard to find a, you know, find a good time to do it. You know, between me and my schedule, and you know, honestly, I don't want to do a live stream on Sunday afternoon when Pete Thorne's doing his, because frankly, you guys are all going to go hang with him. You know, so it's tough to find the right time for me to do it. You know, on Saturday, you know, Saturday afternoon-ish, you know, around 12, 1 o'clock Eastern time, where I'm at, seemed to be the best fit for me. And, you know, but even then, you know, and honestly, they were pretty time consuming. So, you know, I will probably get back to them again on one day, you know, one of these days. But, you know, it was another thing that, you know, interest on them just kind of seemed to drop off there for a while. So I still like the gear reviews. I like finding out about gear that I might not have heard of, if not for you guys putting it out there. I have bought many pieces of gear because of your videos. Again, thank you very much for the support. That really does mean a lot. You know, and that's awesome that I've, you know, been able to, I don't want to use the term influence your, you know, your buying decisions. You know, I don't like to do that, but help you to make, you know, the best educated decision for yourself, which is kind of part of the purpose here. You know, but the reason, you know, the main reason why I wanted to read your comment is because, you know, the very first thing you said, gear reviews, you know, and this is a recurring theme throughout the comment section of this video. You know, everybody keeps referring to reviews, and that tells me there is a lot of people out there that don't know the difference between reviews and demos, you know, and because I very, very, very seldom do reviews, very rarely. Usually, you know, what I do, I demo a piece of gear, say this is what it does, this is what it does well, and, you know, whether I like it or not. And that's pretty much the end of it. You know, short, sweet, and to the point. About the only time that I will consciously share an opinion, especially if it's, you know, especially a negative opinion, is if it's, you know, something that's absolutely glaring, that I would really be, it would be irresponsible of me not to say something. You know, like say, you know, I don't know, what's an example, you know, the Kolos guitar thing that I demoed, I don't know what that was, a year or two ago, you know, with the, you know, the absolutely horrible design of the bridge on that thing, you know, and the total dog shit neck thing on it that was like, you know, they claimed it was carbon fiber, but it was this weird composite, you know, carbon fiber wood thing, you know. I mean, there was things on it that were clearly misleading, and, you know, that I simply had to mention. You know, a more recent example would be, you know, the DoD death metal distortion that I demoed here just a week or so ago. You know, there is no gain control on that pedal. You know, it's a 3-band EQ and a level control, and that's it. That means that pedal is pretty much limited in tone. You know, once you get past those, you know, those controls, there's not, you can't dial back the gain and use it. You know, it is what it is. You know, it's a death metal distortion pedal. You know, but I very, very, very rarely do any, you know, do an actual review where I share, you know, lots of opinions on such and such a thing. You know, like Henning, for example. Henning does reviews all the time. You know, he says, you know, I think this thing does, you know, this pedal does this, and this really, really well, but I wish that it's, you know, it should have this, and this, you know, because, you know, for these reasons, you know. I don't do a whole lot of that. So, you know, but there is, you know, again, the comments section is just peppered all the way down, you know, with people, you know, using the terms demos and reviews interchangeably. And that's, honestly, I think that's a lot of the problem of the miscommunication between this side of the camera and, you know, and you guys watching it on your TVs or your phones or your computers or whatever it is you're watching this on right now. Gear demos won't go away. Let's face it, we want a demo out there in YouTube land when we get the itch to buy. I would like to see more Q&A segments similar to Phil McKnight. Live would be great, but even pre-recorded shows and answer questions you've saved up could be good. You know, and to be honest, it was your comment that inspired this video more than any other. So, like I said, you guys say you want to see more, you know, more interaction, more viewer comment stuff. Absolutely, that I can do. You know, as I just addressed in the previous comment, live streams are, you know, are kind of a little tricky for me. You know, and in the past, even I've done a lot of them. You know, they haven't necessarily yielded the best results. You know, for me as far as viewer engagement. So, but I don't know. You know, maybe we'll figure out a way to rework that as well. I think a lot of people are sick of advertisements masquerading as demos, overproduced sound, making all the guitars sound the same to the point that they mean absolutely nothing. I can never trust any reviewer who says the guitar was given to me, but I can say what I like. Yeah, right. The Guitaristas is one of the very few that I enjoy down-to-earth and totally honest reviews. You know, with that last video, really the last thing I was trying to do was stir up, you know, the controversy of the honest reviews thing. That's, you know, that frankly at this point it's always going to be out there. I don't think there's any getting around it at this point. I mean, it's just always going to be out there, and I don't have any solutions for how, you know, how content creators and viewers are able to get on the same page with that, because I mean, it is a colossal sized misconception in most cases. You know, are there some people that have, you know, that have, you know, that have sold their opinion? Yeah, probably. You know, but the vast majority of creators don't do that. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I have a video coming up that the guitar was given to me, you know, which was fully disclosed in the video, but that I also was very, very clear with the company in question that my opinion is not for sale. That is not what I'm selling here. This particular instance, you know, it's not a, you know, they didn't pay me. They just, you know, said, here, you know, enjoy the guitar, and, you know, we appreciate if you do a demo on it, which is what I did. But, you know, there seems to be a misconception among viewers that I'm afraid that if I don't tell you, if I don't say anything negative about, you know, about this particular product or any particular product, that company is not going to supply me with any more free gear, which is total bullshit. I'm trying to sell gear because I've got so much of it. I don't need more. Yeah. Most creators are not hurting for gear. You know, and furthermore, you know, I mean, you know, given you know, any kind of negative feedback in a demo, even, you know, some companies might not like it publicly, but, you know, that's, you know, when you manufacture products for a living, that's what you gotta be willing to accept. It's the same as, you know, doing YouTube. You know, you guys criticize me. I may not always like it, but, you know, it's there. You know, it's there, and I have to take it into consideration whether I like it or not. You know, but what company out there would not appreciate feedback on things that I feel that they need to improve on in regards to their product that they sent me? I mean, that's one of the reasons why they sent it to me, is because they valued my opinion, right? You know, when I first started this channel, and has always been the case ever since, the thing that I wanted my channel to set itself apart from everybody else out there was my retail experience, you know, and that I've got a lot of experience standing on the other side of the counter, talking to guys, you know, guys and gals like you coming in, you know, to the store. You know, I mean, we all know what it's like, you know, to be the customer in a retail environment, but a lot of people don't know the ins and outs, and, you know, what's actually going on behind the scenes. From the retail side of it, and there's a lot of stuff that people don't know. So maybe I will piss off a company. Maybe they won't want to work with me again in the future. But hey, you know, that's not what I'm here for. There's plenty of other companies out there that will work with me. That's one of the reasons why I love Boss Pedal so much, is because, you know, that I've gotten to work with them a few times in the past, and you know, I've been very clear with them about this up front, and they told us, hey, we get bashed all the time. You know, you be honest. You know, it's you know, we appreciate the feedback. You know, the other thing I want to do, and your comment that I wanted to address when you mentioned overproduced sound, you know, that all sounds the same. You know, all sounds the same. I suppose that's a matter of opinion there, but, you know, overproduced sound. I mean, which would you rather hear? Would you rather hear a fully produced, you know, a guitar or an amp or a pedal or something being demonstrated in a fully produced track with a, you know, full mix and everything? Or do you want to hear it on a cell phone video with all kind of room reflections and, you know, but, you know, something totally unprofessional, but it's the sound of the room that you're looking for, right? You know, I mean, I think the answer to that is probably option A. You know, the idea behind that is not to show you how it sounds. The idea behind behind demoing a piece of gear in a full track like that, and I do it on just about all of my demos, the idea behind that is to show you this is what is possible with this particular piece of gear. This is what I got out of it. Can you get these results or better? At some point, the viewer needs to be responsible to ask themselves that question based on the information that I have shared. Now, the other thing that I always do is I also just plug straight in, with the same IR that I've been using forever now. And twist all the knobs with a looper and everything, just a straightforward, no production demonstration of the controls. So try to give people a little bit of both, and cover as much ground as possible in a short period of time. Short a period of time as possible. Another part of the problem is YouTube has turned into a place where people are always grifting like a Trump. Gets kind of annoying when people get the gear for free or get paid to demo it and then beg for support money. I don't understand where you're coming from at all. You know, the mindset of not wanting creators like me, or not wanting me or creators like me, to be able to earn a living. I don't get it. I do not get where that comes from. Why would you have a problem with me earning a living? I really don't. I mean, who's getting hurt by it? As a YouTube watcher, musician, and gear purchaser, I love gear demos, although, like many, I find or feel like that I'm being shilled most of the time and therefore avoid them for the most part, just saying. And there it is again. Again, I'm really not trying to turn this video into a controversial argument between paid reviews and all that kind of stuff. I'm not trying. That's not what I was going for with any of this. But it was another recurring theme throughout the comments of this particular video. It is the biggest misconception in the world that somebody's trying to shill you. This particular comment, what struck me is, number one, I hate that term shill, and now the new favorite here lately that everybody is talking about, that was in the last comment, grifting, right? It benefits me zero to say something dishonest about anything to my audience. There is no benefit to me for me to do that whatsoever. Not from a business standpoint, not from a gear standpoint, not from a YouTube standpoint, certainly not from a personal standpoint. I pride myself on being a pretty honest guy in all facets of my life. But what struck me about this comment is, it sounded like, it came off to me sounding like you're afraid somebody's going to sell you something. And I mock people that behave that way, because who is that really on? You're afraid that I'm going to sell you something. Well, then, there's a red X in the top right corner of your screen that you can click on, that'll help you get rid of me, and or any other viewer for that, or any other creator for that matter. And in the end, if it's an in-person encounter, nobody's forcing you to buy anything. Nobody ever. Nobody has ever forced me to buy anything. I may have been convinced, but nobody has ever forced me to buy anything. So if I'm afraid that somebody is going to sell me something, that means that I am more concerned about my own actions and my own mindset than I am that individual trying to make a living. There are a lot of content creators that simply can't play very well and or don't tune their guitars well. I make it a point to avoid them. I also tend to steer clear of videos that are excessively long. If it takes you 45 minutes to review a pedal, you're most likely talking too much. If it takes you 10 minutes of talking before I hear what the pedal sounds like, I've already moved on. I have kids. I don't necessarily have 45 minutes to watch every possible variation of each knob setting on any given pedal. You don't like guitar players that can't play very well or don't tune very well? You might as well not come back to this channel, dude. I think we're beginning to see the fallout of the boutique pedal trend. Thus, less people searching out videos on pedals in particular. I think it might be more of an industry trend than strictly a YouTube trend. I don't know that we're seeing the end of the boutique pedal trend, but it's definitely changing from what it was even 10 years ago. I've kind of thought about this. I think I might do a separate video on that topic altogether, just because it is interesting, and especially when you see the evolution of the boutique pedal boom over the last 15, 20, 25 years. And also, a lot of you guys have told me that you're interested in in the history, and learning about the history of some of these things. So that might be something I present to you from the retail perspective. I love your channel because it's genuine, not overpolished or edited. Your personality is not that of some creators who try to seem larger than life. It's just a cool hang. In my opinion, what's driving people away from reviews is that most these days seem fake. The killer audio production, post EQ, etc., is to the point where a product sounds nothing like its original intention. Seeing that a lot with modelers. You hear a modeler in a YouTube demo and it sounds phenomenal, plop down your hard-earned dollars and it sounds like cold, fizzy, sterile shit. People want honest reviews, not something put together with selling units in mind. The paid sponsorship has skewed the format. Make the best sounding videos to move mediocre units as fast as possible. What you're doing is great. What paid shills are putting out is ruining it. Yeah, this comment here honestly is full of things that I've already addressed in this video, and I'm not going to beat it up too much more than I already have. Again, it's that miscommunication between creator and viewer / consumer. You're complaining about killer audio production, post EQ, all that, et cetera, et cetera. Tell me how you're supposed, how that individual is supposed to present it to you. I mean, are they supposed to intentionally make it sound like shit? I mean, did it occur to you that, with a model or pedal, maybe you're not running it in the same way that the presenter did? Maybe they're using a completely different set of gear that made it sound, that gave it much different results than it did in your own setup. I mean, how much is that stuff being taken into consideration? At some point, it's not always the creator's fault. I still watch your gear demos. I would say don't try to make too many drastic changes because your content is very good, but I get when it depends on getting new viewers. It can be really challenging, especially when you have a lot of other channels to compete with, but it's a guitar community. I watch them all. Just keep up the good work. Things always seem to work itself out, but I do like more collaborations, reactions, and versus stuff, and maybe new weird products. And thank you very much for your input. So, there was actually a lot in there. I got a lot out of your comment. I really did. A couple of things that I wanted to address is, number one, guitar YouTube creators don't really compete against each other. And what I mean by that is if me and my buddy Alan Barnes, for example, put up the same video, or each put up a video on the same topic or similar topics. Yeah, they may have the same audience, but that viewer, or similar audiences anyway, overlapping audiences, that viewer may watch my video and then when he's done, decide that he or she enjoyed it, and then go watch Alan's and feel the same way, and then maybe go try to search for other videos. So I mean, there's not really a lot of competition amongst creators in that aspect, or really any other aspect. The biggest competition that YouTube creators have is the YouTube algorithm, because that is what dictates more than anything, the success of a particular video, performance, and all that kind of stuff. Now, do not take that to mean that it's not on me at all to produce, produce good content that you guys want to see. That's absolutely my responsibility and mine alone. But there's oftentimes, it's oftentimes really, really hard to figure out exactly what I need to create in order to trigger the YouTube algorithm, in order for it to take off and and blast it out to a larger audience. That's when audiences, YouTube audiences, grow when that happens. And to be honest, that's the fun part. When you post a video, and the algorithm, it does really well, and the algorithm takes it and blasts it out to an even bigger audience than that, and then it really takes off. That's when this YouTube thing gets fun. All right, that was it. That was the last comment. There was, like I said, there was a lot of comments left, on a lot of different things, left in that video. But the general consensus is you guys want me to keep doing demos, to keep doing what I'm doing, which I will absolutely plan to do. And a number of a lot of you also said the one reason why you guys like my channel is because you feel that I'm I'm honest and genuine. And like I said, I certainly do try to be all of those things. I didn't get on YouTube to try to bullshit people. Like it really meant a lot to read a lot of people say the same thing over and over and over again. Because there's that means there's clearly a lot of other creators out there that you don't feel that way about. To be honest, there are some creators out there that I don't like either. I don't mention those names out loud, certainly not in front of a camera, but I get the complaints of a lot of stuff that I've talked about in this video, and a lot of stuff that was discussed in the comments. I don't agree with a lot of it, but I do understand, and like I said, it's all down to a miscommunication, a communication barrier between this side of the camera and that side of the camera. And I don't know that I have any solutions to figure that out at this point, but maybe we'll come up with something one of these days. So, adios.